Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we have 3 cards to talk about: a new Produce SSR for Madoka, Support SSR for Mei, and Support SR for Mamimi. Keep in mind that Madoka and Mei are permanent. The banner does have a bonus where you get them at 2 stars if you happen to pull them for the first time, which is a nice incentive. The banner overall I would say is okay, and also keep in mind because of weekend maintenance, the banner will actually be ending at midnight JST at the time of this recording tomorrow. So, not a whole lot of time left for pickup. Apologies for that. I'm kind of mixed on the banner personally, which is why this took a little while, but we'll get to it. Starting things off, we have Madoka. Starting off Nocchill's 4th SSR set, we have Madoka, a visual dance hybrid who has 2 completely different playstyles depending on which stat you prefer to build. Her visual build is meant to complement the typical evasion-based playstyle that their team established long ago. The dance build involves raising your attention to Kaho 1 levels, while also reducing any incoming damage for a set amount of time. Dance Nocchill clearly is going to enjoy being hit a lot when we consider the Toru supports and now Madoka. Now just to put this out there, Madoka 4 does not really replace Madoka 3 in visual Nocchill, and she doesn't have a Dance Nocchill team to build around yet. So we're going to be skipping the team building section this time around. If you need a visual team recommendation, check out the Hinana 3 review for an example, and just slot in Madoka 4 over Madoka 3. Madoka is a perfectly serviceable SSR, but she won't really be breaking new ground. She lays out the foundation for Dance Nocchill that we saw through the Toru supports. She's also not a bad tech card for something like Fest Tours because of the damage reduction, which we'll go over a little bit later too. Her roles are maybe a center, she has attention up, evasion up, and she has damage cut depending on the situation. I low to moderately recommend pulling for Madoka, however. She is a perm, and again, I don't think she's going to be that impactful for a little bit at least. If you're investing for the long term, maybe, but if you're not, then I don't think Madoka will pay off that well for you immediately. Madoka's initial skill is a visual 3.2 appeal that raises your attention by 100% for 2 turns and your evasion by 20% for 2 turns. Her link appeal, which only requires Koito, is an evasion 15% buff for 4 turns. Her 3-star skill is a dance 4.7 appeal that raises your attention by 1000% for 2 turns and applies a mental damage cut of 75% for 2 turns. Her link appeal, which requires Toru and Hinana, is a 30% dance buff when damaged. You have 3 turns to be hit, and then the buff itself will last for 3 turns once you are hit. There is only 1 stack possible for this, so it's just a total 30% dance buff. Madoka's 1-star passive is a memory gauge 20% up that requires the full Nocchill lineup. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a dance visual 75% up and attention 30% up that requires Madoka in your skill history and the turn count to be 3 or later. This has a 20% chance to activate twice. And her second 2-star passive is a visual 40% up that requires the turn count to be 3 or later. This has a 20% chance to activate twice, and it also unlocks a plus 50 visual uncap. Her 3-star uncap is a dance visual plus 100, and her 4-star uncap is a dance plus 150. Her memory appeal when maxed is a dance visual 1.5 appeal that follows up with a dance visual 2.0 appeal on the link. Next up we have the support recommendations. The dance supports. I can't really stress just how this core of 6 is the late and end game for many dance teams. It's got a little bit of everything, and that's just how it is. Now, Nocchill don't have many specific supports for dance outside of Toru right now, so just roll with whatever works. Mamimi is still good, Kogane is good, Kiriko is good, Uiko is good, Natsuha is good. She's not listed here, but Juri is good if you're running her alongside Natsuha, so it all makes sense. Visual has gotten some fairly useful generic support over time and have some Nocchill specific pieces to work with too. Just keep in mind that some Nocchill supports don't gel with each other perfectly, so mixing and matching is pretty expected. But thankfully there's a lot of pieces that just kind of work without inherently needing synergy, like Chiyuki and even the new Mei, so something else to consider. On to the grades. Madoka as a center I would say is about a B. Just sorta hits hard-ish, but not enough to stand out as something particularly insane for dance or visual Nocchill. Unless you're Illumine or the rare Hokura team, dual stat memory appeals are mostly ditched in favor of a single stat, and the value from this memory appeal as single stat is pretty low in that case. So don't focus on that too much for her right now. As a unit, I'm not really gonna put anything right now. If Madoka doesn't work out as a central piece to Dance Knock Chill, she has a lucrative career in Fest Tours with her ability to tank for dance teams. 75% damage cut for 2 turns is no joke and can help a fair bit. Plus, because of that amount of cut, you might just use her on any team if you have the space for her. Now, like I said, I can't really place a definitive letter grade on how actually good Madoka could be. We don't really have a dance team to compare her on, and I don't really think she fits on the visual team much at all. Visual doesn't need her, and dance isn't real yet, so time will tell. Her numbers are good, but we'll see. If I have to give a letter, high B, I guess? B+, but we'll leave it B until Dance Knock Chill's a little more realized. Next up we have Mei. Mei is a new visual support that helps in a very good general sense. She generates plenty of SP and helps stamina in a great way for visual teams while also gradually raising your maximum visual stat. Her passives are a little all over the place in terms of functionality, but overall she's not bad to use around almost every team, especially for the visual teams that do try to currently compete in what would be considered their worst format in a long while. Her support skills are Idol's Bond, Promised Recovery, and Rest Boost, and she has 3 unique support skills. Visual Mastery SP reaching plus 14 at level 75, Visual Mastery Stamina reaching plus 3 at level 80, and Unit Mastery Visual Limit reaching plus 3 at level 70. Her support appeal does scale, starting at a Visual 2.5, becoming a 2.6 at level 60, and working its way up to a 3.0 at level 80. Her TFD idea is Visual, her Insight token for Grad is Mental, and her proficiencies in Landing Point are in Vocal and Visual. Mei's 1-star passive is a mental 10% heal that requires the turn count to be 3 or earlier, has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a visual 70% up that requires your current mental to be 60% or higher and the turn count to be 3 or later. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a visual plus 100, and her 4-star appeal is a visual 3.0 that raises your vocal and dance by 10% for 5 turns, and then again by 5% for 10 turns. Her event passive, a visual 30% up, the turn count being 2 or later, has a 20% chance to activate twice. Mei earns an A+ to an S. My personal take is that the 1-star passive drops Mei down slightly compared to a support like the visual Chiyuki back during the Kaho 6 banner. The masteries are fantastic. Her passives are honestly not that particularly difficult to work with, and her appeal actually helps put Stray Light online if they scale by using vocal and dance active buffs. Just that one appeal could technically make a full scaling attack if they scale off both vocal and dance together. You can't go wrong picking up a copy of her for your visual teams. I moderately recommend pulling for Mei, but she is a permanent, so she may come home eventually. Last, we have Mamimi. Mamimi's latest support SR is a dance card that happens to pack one of the more useful appeals we've seen in a long time for an SR. Mamimi features the rare Interest Reverse, which lasts for 2 turns upon use, which can drastically change the flow of a Fest performance when timed correctly. Just recognize that it does not have the same interest buff alongside it that makes Daikichi Kogane so strong for stalling Fest out. She's a fantastic complement to Daikichi, and happens to shut down the occasional vocal Hokuto teams or any teams that focused on interest up in particular. Her support skills are Idol's Bond, Promised Recovery, Rest Boost, and Trouble Guard, and her unique support skill is Dance Mastery Dance, reaching plus 5 at level 65. Her TFD idea is Dance, her Insight token for Grad is Visual, and her proficiency in Landing Point is in Dance. Mamimi's 1-star passive is a dance 12% up that requires you to be in the dance position. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a dance 40% up that requires your mental to be 49% or lower. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a plus 50 to dance, and her 4-star appeal is a dance 2.5 that reverses interest for 2 turns on the judge you target. Her event passive is a dance 8% up that requires Mamimi on your team, and it has a 30% chance to activate twice. Mamimi earns a C+ to a B- maybe. Finally, an SR support that doesn't immediately get thrown into the box without any hesitation. Mamimi is carried heavily by her Interest Reverse 4-star appeal, in my mind, allowing her to make the most of aggressive playstyles and turn it on their head. The best way to use this appeal, possibly, is in response to interest up units, or to extend the effect of Daikichi by an extra turn or 2. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to stall out for some reason, this appeal could extend that ability to stall, since the interest up from Daikichi Kogane lasts longer than the interest reverse. So it's just something to think about. I think the card is actually kinda neat, so I recommend farming for this Mamimi while she's here. And that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I'm still putting together the overall Grade Pass review for the last basically month and a half. The numbers are not too surprising, all things considered, if you've been thinking about how we've been talking about cards lately, and sort of my overall disdain for how dance teams are sort of turning into right now, but we'll get that put together soon enough. Next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, so let's look forward to it together. I've been Cho, thanks for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day.